with you the most recent trends in fertility management and how Baby Joy as a world-class center endeavors to contribute to this area of IVF and surrogacy management. Actually, I would have liked to start with a little video that I had brought, but since the resolution of this projector is not too good, so maybe we'll just start with the presentation first and then we'll see how it proceeds. Let's hope our session is, post-lunch session is a little different from anything like this. I would like to start by saying that everyone says let's think positive. However, we say let's think beta HCG positive. Coming over to the first slide, as we all know that today India is the hub for, it's the global hub as far as fertility management is concerned. And there are very obvious reasons for this. In fact, I would like some lights to be on, please. Everyone will fall asleep otherwise. Please. So, if we see, then there's a lot of interest in the field of medical tourism today. A lot of people are coming from abroad to get themselves treated in India. And fertility comprises more than 20% of that entire business. There are 2 or 3 major reasons for this. The first reason is that India has got world-class IVF specialists who can match anyone in the world. The second, a very important reason is that the cost of fertility management in India is about 5 to 8 times less as compared to any other country. For example, if we see the cost of IVF in India, it ranges anywhere between 1.6 to 2 lakhs. The same cost in any Western country with the similar standard ranges anywhere around 10 to 12 lakhs. Similarly, if I would like to give you another example, the cost of surrogacy in India is anywhere between 8 to 10 lakhs, including all aspects, the legalities and all other aspects. The same cost of surrogacy, if you see in the Western world, Australia or even Middle East, ranges from 50 to 60 lakhs. So this is making India a big global hub as far as the fertility management is concerned. But more important than this, something that has really contributed to we becoming a global power as far as IVF and surrogacy is concerned is the fact that corporatization in India has brought about a real change in this particular segment. And in some of my coming slides, I would also like to enumerate some of the significant contributions that have been brought about by the corporatization of the fertility segment in India. So coming over to this next slide, as I always say that most of the breakthroughs which we were expecting have already happened in the field of IVF. We do not expect any more breakthroughs in the coming decade. So in the last decade, we've been fortunate enough to have so many newer concepts in the field of IVF, ranging from ICSI, IMSI. A lot of development has been seen in the field of cryofreezing. A lot of development has been seen in the field of PGS, PGD, TISA, TESI. And now what is the need of the hour is that what is going to determine the success rates or the progress are going to be 2 basic concepts. 1, the concept of standardization, and 2, the concept of customization. So what we all should work towards as an IVF fraternity is to be able to standardize the lab environments as per the global protocols, and secondly to be able to customize our treatment protocols with respect to every patient individually. So these are 2 areas where still we are lagging behind. From lab to lab, since there is a lot of grey area as far as the regulations are concerned, so various centers have different policies and the standards of operating are very different and some of them are very compromised. And similarly, as far as the treatment protocols are concerned, somehow I don't know why, it is a general feeling that the moment you come to know about an agonist and an antagonist protocol, you can start an IVF. So we need to change that mindset and we need to understand that a lot of customization is going to be extremely important if we really want to match the world standards as far as the success rates are concerned. So in continuity with this, I would like to share with you that today in the existing milieu, the IVF centers in India are on 2 ends of the horizon. On one end, there are the individually run centers and on the other end, there are the corporate centers. Now both of them have got their own advantages and distinct disadvantages also. On one hand, whereas the corporate centers contribute majorly towards bringing about the concept of standardization and customization, they bring the latest technology and infrastructure, they bring a higher level of professionalism in some cases, and certainly a very high level of transparency which had been missing in the IVF sector today. On the other hand, the individually run centers have their own advantages. Primarily, one advantage being that they are extremely cost effective and there can be a greater warmth and compassion because there's a one-to-one rapport with the patient. So what we need to do is that we need to fill this particular gap. We need to have global standards of ethics, global standards of transparency and success rates. We need to have ultra-modern technology, state-of-the-art equipment. But at the same time, seeing the Indian environment, it's extremely important to bring down the rates of IVF so that it can be made more affordable to the general masses. And along with that, one thing that's extremely important is to bring a greater degree of transparency, compassion and warmth to this sector. So how we position ourselves is that we position Baby Joy as a professionally run fertility center, combining the advantages of both a corporate center and an individually run center. And I shall elaborate a little on this subsequently. So Baby Joy today is a part of the Vizag group, which has been in the field of healthcare for more than 10 years in various areas of healthcare. About 4 years ago, through Vizag Surrogacy Consultants, we set up India's first professionally managed surrogacy agency. Before that, surrogacy was a extremely grey area. So this was the first professionally managed surrogacy agency whereby we carried out all aspects of surrogacy for patients across the world. But the only lacuna was that since we did not have our own IVF center, so we had to send the patients for IVF to other centers. And today everyone wants the entire 360-degree solutions under one roof. So as part of our endeavor to be able to give that, we set up Baby Joy to bring about change or our own contribution in the field of IVF. And our main endeavor with Baby Joy has been to provide global standards of fertility management under one roof, whether it is IUI, IVF, surrogacy, or all other related fields. So what makes Baby Joy different? As we say that it is our endeavor to achieve the benchmark of what we call the triple A's: advanced, affordable, accountable. So I would just like to lay a little stress on each one of these important things. How advanced a center is would depend upon three primary aspects: the expertise, that is the team running the center, the doctors, the embryologists and the support staff; the technology, that is the equipment and the practices; finally the practices which are being used at the center. So this would determine how advanced a center is, and I would also tell you subsequently how we fare as far as this particular area is concerned. But coming over to an equally important area is the area of affordability. Going by a very general population, if we see, then Delhi NCR has a population of about 2.5 crore. If we take 30% of this population to be of the reproductive age, and the general statistics states that 10% of the reproductive population is infertile, and about 15 to 20% of these infertile patients require IVF. By this simple calculation, it seems that there would be somewhere close to 1 lakh IVF couples existing in Delhi NCR alone. However, collectively all IVF centers combined are not doing more than 1000 IVF cycles per month, which means somewhere close to 10,000 IVF cycles in a year. So you can easily see that just to cater to the existing population, it would take us 10 years. The main reason behind this is the lack of affordability in this particular sector. As I started by saying, that the cost of IVF is anywhere between 1.6 to 2 lakhs if you include all aspects of medicines, procedures, tests, etc. Our primary endeavor at Baby Joy has been to substantially reduce this cost by 40 to 50% and bring it down to 1.25 lakhs. And in case of some poor patients, we bring it even further down to about 1 lakh. And when we say a cost of 1.25 lakhs, we mean all aspects of IVF are covered in this particular cost. The entire procedure, the cost of the medications, we use all recombinant medications, the cost of the ultrasounds, follicular monitoring, consultations, everything is covered within this cost. So with this cost, we hope to enter into a population which has been bereft of the benefits of IVF. And there's a big socio-economic strata which because of low financial income have not been able to be exposed to the benefits of IVF. Coming over to the third and the most important aspect which has been lacking in the field of IVF today is lack of transparency. So end of the cycle, all we are able to tell our patients is whether they are positive or negative. But it's extremely important that this needs to be changed because of two main aspects. One, unless we are transparent, we will not be able to find success once we found failure in the first cycle. Two, if we are not transparent, the patient is bound to continue with the same center because he doesn't have any reports, any reasons, anything to state what led to the failure in the first cycle. So at our center, we have developed SOPs whereby at every level of treatment, the patient or the referral doctor are both taken into the loop. We tell the patient at every level what the AMH was, how many follicles were formed, how many embryos were formed, how many embryos were transferred, how many embryos were frozen finally, and similarly in case of frozen embryo transfer cycle. So every stage is extremely transparent, and what it helps us do is not only be more ethical, but at the same time, in case we find a failure in the first cycle, we are better equipped to bring about success rate in the subsequent cycle, which has been the case with many cycles at our center. So finally, we would like to position ourselves as a highly advanced yet affordable IVF center which caters to IVF care with compassion and transparency. So here I would just like to mention some of our small achievements in the last 1 to 1.5 years. We've developed a formidable team comprising of 2 IVF specialists, 2 dedicated embryologists, an in-house andrologist, a very good team of fertility counselors, PR experts, and support staff. So with this team, we are able to carry out 360-degree fertility solutions under one roof, which includes IUI, IVF, surrogacy, cryo-freezing, PISA, TISA, TESI, and we have a large database of in-house egg donors and surrogates. All our surrogates stay at our own surrogate homes. So I would just like to run through our team. Besides me, there's my friend and colleague Jagajit, and I would like to introduce our 2 doctors, Dr. Nilima Gupta and Dr. Nisha Bhatnagar. Dr. Nisha is here with us. Dr. Nilima is about to join us shortly. So both of them are highly accomplished IVF experts with an extensive experience in the field of fertility management. They have special area of interest in refractory cases, in repeated failures, and in surrogacy cycles. They have a world perspective in case of in IVF, and we follow all global guidelines as far as IVF treatment is concerned. And the biggest thing is that both of them are highly inclined towards bringing about a greater level of transparency and ethics to the field of IVF. So here is our entire team comprising of embryologists, fertility coaches, admin, support staff, andrologists, PR managers, all of whom have got one common mission and motive, that is to help the patient the moment the patient enters our center. I would also like to mention a little bit about the hardware, that is the infrastructure, the equipment, the technologies that are being used. We have state-of-the-art equipment at our center, and ultra-modern technology is being used. These are some of the pictures of the center which I would just like to share with you, so that there is a general concept that if something is affordable, it has to compromise on quality. So I would like to reiterate that that is not the scene. And actually, when we say that we are a world-class center, we mean through our practices, through our technology, through the equipment, through the infrastructure, through the professionalism or the patient care that we intend to give to the patients. So these are just some of the slides showing different areas. This is the recovery room, and this is the ICSI IX73. This is the latest technology of ICSI machine. We are one of the few centers in India to have this. This is the andrology lab. For purposes well known, we cannot show you the IVF lab, but this is again, we follow clean room environment guidelines. Less than 0.3 microns is detected within the lab, and there is a proper air handling procedure, positive air pressure, HEPA filters to see that there are no VOCs, CACs, or any detrimental, any aspects that can be detrimental to the embryos. So here I would also like to, since we are a 360-degree fertility management organization, I would also like to tell you a little bit about our sister concern, that's Vizag Surrogacy Consultants. So WSC provides all egg donors and surrogates, and they do the entire surrogate management for Baby Joy. And not only for Baby Joy, for IVF centers across India and across the world, we are doing surrogacy management, and we are providing egg donors. So at WSC, we have optimized the surrogacy process, not only the surrogacy process per se, but all aspects related to surrogacy, like the legalities, the IVF, the delivery, and in case of foreign clients, we also help them to get the exit visas. So we've developed standard operating procedures for surrogate management, which is the most important aspect in case of surrogacy. So right from screening to the recruitment, monitoring, compensation, and housing, we are taking care of all aspects of surrogacy management. We have a very large database of surrogates. All our surrogates They stay with us in our own surrogate homes under our constant counseling and monitoring. And besides delivering a baby, they are also trained to be brought into the mainstream, and their bank accounts are opened, their children are helped in getting admission in schools. So there is a plethora of activities which are being done for these surrogates at our surrogate homes. We have a 3-tier quartet communication system which helps us to communicate between the IVF doctor, the surrogate, and the intending parents. So we have also been, in the last 1.5 years, we've been extremely committed to disseminating knowledge about fertility management through constant effort of CMEs, which we've done in various private and government hospitals and various forums like these. And in a short span of time, we have a lot of success stories to share. But since today we are short on time, so I would just go through some of the happy couple pics which are here and some of the patient feedbacks. And in fact, at the end of the day, this is the most satisfying part, when a patient gives you a good testimonial or a good feedback after the treatment. We've dealt with extremely interesting cases of cryofreezing. There was a case where the woman had reached menopause, and through an egg donor, she conceived. There was another case where the quality of the semen as well as the egg was extremely poor, and there was no way they could become parents. So we counseled them for embryo donation, and that was a successful case subsequently. There was a very interesting case in Australia. There was an Indian couple based in Australia. They had gone through repeated attempts of IVF failures, and they didn't even want to come to India, but they had embryos frozen over there. So we cryo-shipped their embryos, put them in the surrogate conceived, and at the end of the 9 months, the surrogate delivered, and then as a happy couple, they came and took the baby back to Australia. So there are many such interesting case studies that can be shared with you. We've had extensive media coverage to state that we are one of the most upcoming IVF and surrogacy centers, not only in Delhi, but in India today. So our purpose today is to have a transparent interface between the gynecologists and ourselves, that is the IVF center. And we would like to here state that you could have a tie-up with us on various aspects. If at all you refer a patient to us, then on all aspects of treatment you would get a stage-wise feedback.